Welcome to the Stay Ready Real Estate Podcast, where we stay ready so you don't have to get ready. I'm Emeka, your host, and this podcast is all about real estate, investing in real estate. I invest in multifamily, and I'm here to show you that regular people can invest in real estate. You don't need to have billions or millions. It's regular people like you and I who can invest in real estate today. So on this podcast, you'll hear from myself, as well as I'll bring different real estate professionals on from around the world to talk about their investing journey, strategies, market insights, or how they got into real estate so you can get started today as well. Stay ready, my friends. Hope you enjoy.
All right, what's going on, team? It's your boy, your host, Emeka. And number one, the people who are watching on YouTube, you see that I'm not wearing my Stay Ready shirt. I'm wearing some random green Austin FC shirt. The reason why I'm out of town in a hotel, and quite frankly, I forgot my Stay Ready shirt. So I apologize, but I'm rocking my Austin FC shirt. That's my team. I'm from Austin, Texas, so the Texas teams is where it's at. However, this is a real estate podcast, so let's get to the real estate. Today, we are going to talk about hard money lenders and underwriting and how to underwrite flips. So, first and foremost, I am under contract to close on a flip. My underwriting is based off of what I think the hard money lender is going to give us. So I'm kind of assuming the down payment, I'm assuming what the interest rates are, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But you have to make sure that you have a good relationship with these hard money lenders, just because hard money lenders are typically private money and they don't really abide by the normal bank rules, right? You know, you're not going to go into Chase or Bank of America and get a hard money loan, 12-month loan, 10% interest, where they will, cover the rehab costs. So hard money for flips are really key for those kind of situations. And the mistake I made is I just went with someone I know who used this private money lender slash hard money lender, however you want to frame it. And because they used it, I trust them, I used it. And not to say that's a bad idea, right? But sometimes you have to vet and sometimes you need to ask more than three people. So I talked about the underwriting, right? So with this deal, I working with a partner, I do the legwork and then I have the money partner, right? He's supposed to cover all the funds and I basically make the deal happen. I make his return. I handle the contractors, I handle the engineers, I handle, getting the materials, et cetera, et cetera. And he's just the one doing the down payment, doing the monthly costs, and then we split 50-50. What I'm doing is I do all the sweat equity, he does nothing, and he just trusts me to deliver. So that's how the relationship works. That's how you can make it work. I've established myself as someone who's competent enough to execute a business plan. So I show him the underwriting, I show him the proof, I show him the comps, I show him all the properties that are going to that are like properties that sold around the area, and he saw it fit, quite frankly. So he needs to know how much he needs to put down. I give him an estimate based off what this hard money slash private money lender tells us. So first and foremost, the deal. Single family home, Central Florida, and the owners can't leave for another 2 months. So we get under contract in April. We close the end of June. So number one, that's not normal, right? But I got it from a wholesaler. Got this property from a wholesaler, and it was still a good deal. We're not gonna really talk about how the wholesaler is making a quick 35 grand. There's ethics of wholesaling and blah blah blah, but that's not the point of this podcast. The point of this podcast is kind of talk about why the relationship and proof of concept with these hard money lenders are so important. So let's get back. It takes 2 months to almost 3 months to close. The hard money lender gave us some rough numbers, so we expected X amount. We expected for about 30 grand down. That's what my partner thought. That's what I thought. I based it off the issues, the problems, and the point of this podcast. So, number one, the communication with the hard money lender and us have not been the greatest. There is a transaction coordinator, and she's been nice. She's been great for the most part. And that's all fine and dandy. But at the end of the day, they are not the ones, the transaction coordinators, they're not the ones who are doing the underwriting. They're not the ones who determine if a deal works. They are simply the hold your hand person. They're simply the person that you get in contact with whenever you have questions. And what they do is they go back to their team, go back to the bank, go back to the private money, the underwriters, whoever it may be, ask them questions to get updates. They're just the middleman. And, once we're 2 days before closing and we still don't know exactly what we need to put down. So not only did we get 4 days before closing, not only did we find out that we have to come up with 15, almost 20 grand more than we initially thought. It's 2 days before closing, and we still don't know how much we need to put down. It is 2 days before closing, and we don't even have wiring instructions, right? We have $10,000 hard in this deal, and we still have question marks everywhere. And not to say that the deal's not going to close, right? They're reassuring us that it will, but not only that, they're telling us because I'm calling I'm calling frequently. I'm being stern with them, telling what my expectations were, what they are, and why this is an issue. They shoot us an email, talking about, we understand that this is your first time in private money, but this is how it works. You should ask around. Right. In the middle of doing my job, and I don't have time to put energy on that while I'm at my W-2. So after work, I'm firing off emails and making my point very clear that this is not our first rodeo. So where is the lessons? Where is this all going? You need to get with multiple hard money lenders so you can vet each other, you can put each other together. And once you start doing that, then they're going to start fighting with them. And then you'll start to realize who is more communicative, who is more willing to work with you, and who is serious about taking you seriously. Right? Because at the end of the day, private money is private money. It's not traditional banks. So at the end of the day, it's just pushing paperwork and wiring funds. So you need to, number one, make sure it's trustworthy people. I went to someone who I know, who I trust, and they've used them before, and that's why I use this company. And it didn't always work. But the issue is I only went to them to start off with. I had 2 to 3 months to vet multiple people. And never ever rely on one quote. Never ever rely on one loan. Rely on a minimum of three people because you might have two that are similar and then one's way off, or one really good one and two that are way off. And you need to make sure you get that happy medium of someone that you can trust, verify, and have great communication, text, email, calls. And you need to make sure you understand and set expectations on when you can expect to have the official loan terms, the official ones, not the preliminary, not the mock, not the estimates, the official terms before closing. So you are not scrambling beforehand. This is your money. There is hard money involved that is non-refundable money. And since we got this from a wholesaler, that hard money goes hard day one. So don't ever get caught with your pants down where you might lose 10 to 20 grand because you trusted a lender to get you this information beforehand. Because the reality of it is we're not rich, right? We had enough money to get the deal done. We had enough money to add, an extra 20 grand and 20 to 25 grand into this deal. And that's because I was able to add 15, partner was able to add another 10. And what if we didn't? Right? We can't use all of our savings, especially if we have life. You never use all the money that you have because when poo hits the fan, you want to make sure that you have a security blanket, your family's not at risk, and you still have money for emergencies. So we're not at the point where we're ready to risk it all. we're young. You don't want to have your money tied up in somebody else's hands and things are out of your control, right? So you don't want to have $10,000 hard that you can't refund. And the reason you lost it is because you put it in the hands of somebody else and you were relying on someone else, a hard money lender, to get things done at a certain time and they weren't able to do it. Period. Point blank. And now when you're doing your underwriting, right? You're going to do estimates. You'll never have certain underwriting until you get to certain loan terms and you know that's exactly what you're going to do. So when you're doing your underwriting, sometimes well, never not sometimes. Every single time, make sure you're providing that information to the private money lender so they understand why your numbers are their numbers. Debt and equity are completely different things. Hard money lenders are giving out debt, and we're in a space of equity where we're using our equity to get a deal done, get a deal secured, and make more money. And I mean, that's the whole point that we're in the real estate, right? So, make sure your underwriting is tight. Do different models. If you have one model that works, say you've done multiple times, that's great. Continue to use it. But what I'm doing is I made a model. I use a friend's model, and then I'll go online and look at the model to figure out the different aspects of the deal, the different angles of the deal that I might be missing, interest rate, taxes. And there's so many different moving parts of underwriting and moving parts of a real estate deal where you might not realize money is being spent or lost, right? If you don't estimate your taxes correctly, right? Most people don't understand that you get taxed on profit. And if you just continue to use and spend the money that you make, and at the end of the year, Uncle Sam wants his cut and it's 30%, and now you didn't save anything because you didn't have it in your underwriting, that is an issue. So make sure that you are always watching your P's and Q's. Always have a second look. It never hurts, no matter how experienced you are. If you're not collaborating with people, if you're not in these circles where you have someone to rely on, someone to second check your deals, or just to converse back and forth of different ideas or different ways to be better and make more money and make a better return, or you change a different floor and you save an extra 2 grand. If you're not collaborating with people, if there's people that's not in your circle that you can collaborate with these deals, with the underwriting, with choosing a hard money lender, then you need to find a new circle, or what you need to do is look in the notes, reach out to me, and ask me questions, and I'm here to help you. So overall, what I want you to understand in this podcast today is hard money lenders are a great tool for single family flips. Even build to rent, there's different hard money lenders for everything, but we're going to talk about flips today. And just because you Google hard money lenders and find one person, or just because you just know someone who did a flip once and you reach out to them and use theirs, here are the things that you need to get done. Number one, always get a minimum of 3 quotes, 3 bids for your hard money lender. Quite frankly, 3 bids for anything that you're bidding on, a contractor, engineering, architect, whatever it may be. 3 bids is the special number to make sure you're holding each one of those vendors responsible. Number two, always have a second pair of eyes. Look at your underwriting, look at the terms that the bank is giving you, and maybe even just make sure that they're a legitimate business. It's not that hard to scam people. It's the unfortunate truth. I choose to trust as many people as I can, as long as it's verified and as long as they have, some kind of testimonials and proof. And then number three, reach out to your boy if your circle isn't there. If you don't have a circle of people that you can rely on to second check your work, or just, fact check you, find a new group or reach out to me. Until next time, team. See you.
Thanks for tuning in to the Stay Ready Real Estate Podcast, where we stay ready so you don't have to get ready. If you enjoyed this podcast today, please give me a like and subscribe, and tune in next week so you can hear another one. If you ever want to reach out to me, I'd love to talk to you about real estate. If you're ever interested in any of the deals that I have, I'm based here in Central Florida, reach out. My information is below. Hope to see you next week. Stay ready, my friend.